Ahoy, mateys. We are jumping right into 2.2. I'm going to keep this relatively quick. So what you're doing is solving inequalities using addition and subtraction. If you understand how to solve equations, this will be super easy, which is why I'm keeping this short. If you have any questions on solving equations, make sure to see me and get some help, because you'll have issues solving inequalities if you have issues solving equations. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. You're going to see the term equivalent inequalities. That's a weird thing, equivalent inequalities. Basically what that means is, like, you can add 2 to each side of an equation. You can also add 2 to each side of an inequality, and the inequality stays the same. So we're going to use those properties to do some of these problems. Here's our first example. All right, so solve x minus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 10. So just like if this were an equation, what would be a good first step to solve this inequality? Yeah, you want to add 6 to each side. So when you add 6 to each side, you're left with x on the left, and greater than or equal to negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. There we go. That's it. So now if you were supposed to graph this solution as well, should you use an open or closed circle? Yeah, you should use a closed circle because it includes negative 4, because it can be greater than or equal to negative 4. And then is the arrow going to go right or left? Arrow goes right, because x can be anything bigger than negative 4. Now, a good way to check your answer is to plug in any number from the blue part of this, or the darkened in part, and make sure it works. So like if you plug in 0, it should work, and 0 is greater than negative 4. So this is the right way to shade it. All right, there's our first example. Second example, we're going to throw in some subtraction instead. Oh, no, it's still addition. Here we go. All right, so little foreshadowing in how to solve this. So here you have y plus 8 is less than or equal to 5. What's a good first step to solve it? Yeah, subtract 8 on each side, and you end up with y is less than or equal to negative 3. So when you graph it, you'll use an open or closed circle. Yeah, closed circle on negative 3, because it can include negative 3. And then is the arrow going to go right or left? Yeah, the arrow is going to go left, because y is anything less than or equal to negative 3. And again, you can check it by plugging in any number from down here. Okay, let's do the second one. You have negative 8 is less than 1.4 plus m. What should you do to isolate m? Yeah, you actually want to subtract 1.4 on each side. You'll end up with negative 9.4 is less than m. Be careful when you rewrite your answer, because a lot of times you'll want to put the variable in first. If you're going to rewrite it where m is first, make sure you're remembering that m is greater than negative 9.4. So when you switch, the letters, make sure to switch the inequality. So we'll use an open or closed circle if you were to graph this. Yeah, open circle on that one, because m cannot equal negative 9.4, but it can be really close to it. So you want to use an open circle at negative 9.4. And will the arrow go left or right? Okay, it's going to go to the right because m is anything bigger than this number right here. Okay, and you're going to also have a couple of story problems that you're going to have to work out. So here we have a circuit that overloads at 1800 watts, and you plug in a microwave that uses 1100 of those 1800 watts. So what's an inequality that represents how many watts you can add to the circuit without overloading it? All right, so anytime you're doing any sort of story problem, you should make sure you understand the problem and come up with a plan. So the plan is, I would say, to take the words and turn them into an inequality sign. So the microwave, what it uses plus how much you can add to it has to be less than the overload. And we'll say W is the additional watts that you can add. So we got 1100 plus W has to be less than 1800. We don't want it to be less than or equal to, just less than, because once it hits 1800, lights go out and it's sad, sad news. All right, and then you could solve it. So how would you solve this inequality? Yeah, you'd subtract 1100 on each side, and you get 700 is what you can add to the circuit without overloading it. All right, that's it. So if you can solve equations, you can solve inequalities. And if you have any questions, make sure to let me know. Good luck.